When I think of Quentin Wilson, I don't just see the man who reviewed cars. I see the man who made every car feel alive, who could make you laugh in the middle of the rain, who brought warmth, wit, and wisdom into a world of engines and speed. We had countless laughs over the years, moments that only those who truly understood him could share. Properly funny man, yes, but so much more than that. A colleague, a friend, a guiding voice behind the wheel. Quentin Wilson was more than a motoring presenter. He was the heartbeat of every show he touched, the calm and the chaos of Top Gear's early days. While the cameras captured engines roaring and tires screeching, Quentin brought perspective. He brought stories, humor, and humanity. As someone who shared the studio, the road, and countless adventures with him, I can say this. Quentin didn't just teach audiences about cars. He taught them to see the joy, the memory, and the life in every journey. His quiet confidence, his sharp wit, and his unwavering kindness made him not just a colleague, but a true friend. Someone whose legacy will continue to echo every time a car engine hums or a road stretches into the horizon. There are men who drive cars, and then there are men who make them talk. Quentin Wilson belonged to the latter. He wasn't just a motoring journalist or a TV presenter. He was a storyteller with an engine for a heart. When he spoke about cars, the world didn't hear horsepower, it heard heartbeats. Every story he told carried warmth, humor, and a strange kind of truth. The kind that makes you look at an old car and see a piece of your own memory. In the early days of Top Gear, when the show was still finding its voice, Quentin gave it one, confident, calm, and irresistibly clever. He didn't shout to be heard. He simply spoke, and people listened. Whether he was reviewing a classic Jaguar or analyzing the future of electric vehicles, he did it with a rare mix of intelligence and empathy. He had that classic English poise, smooth, deliberate, and gently witty. But beneath that composure was a man who cared deeply about what he did. Cars, for Quentin, were never just machines. They were time capsules, carrying laughter, ambition, and dreams from one generation to the next. And that's what made him different. He didn't race to prove speed. He spoke to prove meaning. Jeremy Clarkson once said, "We had some laughs over the years." Properly funny man. Those few words sum up decades of friendship, mischief, and memories, from long filming days under the British rain to those quiet moments when laughter echoed louder than engines. Quentin brought charm to metal and humanity to motion. He made television feel warm, even when it was about machines of steel and power. He wasn't just reviewing cars. He was reminding us how it feels to fall in love with them. As the years rolled on, Top Gear became more than a car show. It became a cultural heartbeat. And at its core was Quentin Wilson, the man who never needed noise to make an impact. He entered the studio floor like a calm wind after a storm. While others sought the thrill of chaos, Quentin brought clarity. His reviews weren't about speed. They were about story. He'd trace the curve of a fender like a poet reading a verse, describing the rhythm of an engine as if it were music. Viewers didn't just learn about cars, they felt them, through him. But beyond the charm and wit, Quentin carried something rarer: principle. He believed television could educate as well as entertain. He reminded millions that every driver on the road mattered, not just the supercar owner. Whether he spoke about affordable family hatchbacks or futuristic electric dreams, his tone never changed: steady, sincere, human. Colleagues often recalled his quiet brilliance. Jeremy Clarkson's playful banter balanced Quentin's measured grace, yet behind the humor lay respect. Together, they built a show that shaped generations of car lovers, a show that made people laugh, think, and dream of the open road. And when the cameras stopped, Quentin didn't slow down. He took his passion beyond the studio, campaigning for fair fuel prices, cleaner energy, and responsible motoring. Movements like FairFuel UK and FairCharge weren't just projects to him, they were promises. Promises to make driving fairer, greener, and kinder to the world that gave him his voice. His legacy was never about fame. It was about impact. He wasn't chasing headlines, he was chasing change. Even in his quietest moments, Quentin Wilson was steering the world towards something better. Behind every calm word and confident smile, Quentin Wilson carried a heart that truly understood people. To him, cars weren't about horsepower or prestige. They were about connection. Every dent, every mile, every hum of an old engine told a story about the person behind the wheel. He once said that a car isn't just a machine, it's a memory keeper. It remembers where you've been, who you loved, and what you dreamed of when the road seemed endless. And that was Quentin, the man who saw the poetry in motion. In the quiet corners of the studio, colleagues remember him as thoughtful, warm, and endlessly patient. There was never arrogance in his success. He taught younger presenters not to perform for the camera, but to feel for the audience, to speak about cars like they were speaking about life itself, because, in truth, they were. Even off-screen, he lived with that same passion. Friends recall his laughter, that distinct calm voice, and his unwavering curiosity about the world. He'd talk not only about engines, but about people, their struggles, their dreams, their need to belong. And somehow, every conversation led back to hope. When illness and time began to slow him down, he didn't fade into silence. Instead, he found new purpose, championing electric cars, cleaner air, and a fairer future for every driver. While others chased trends, Quentin chased truth. And maybe that's why his passing feels so heavy, because the world didn't just lose a presenter. It lost a voice of reason, kindness, and quiet brilliance. He wasn't just a man who spoke about cars. He was a man who taught us to listen, not to the roar of engines, but to the heartbeat behind them. There comes a moment in every great story when the engine quiets, the headlights dim, and the road stretches into silence. For Quentin Wilson, that moment has come. But his journey hasn't truly ended. Jeremy Clarkson, upon hearing the news, said, "We had some laughs over the years. Properly funny, man." A simple line, yet it carried a universe of memories. The long drives, the filming chaos, the shared laughter that only true friends understand. Behind the camera, they were brothers in motion, men bound by the same road, the same dream. The Top Gear family felt the loss deeply. To them, Quentin wasn't just a colleague. He was the steady compass that kept the adventure honest. While others turned the wheel toward shock and spectacle, he kept the spirit grounded in authenticity. His voice was soft, his humor subtle, but his presence filled every frame. Fans around the world began to share their memories, old clips, favorite reviews, and that calm smile that never changed. One comment read, "He made me love cars I could never afford, but feel like I owned them in spirit." That was Quentin's gift. He made the extraordinary feel familiar, and the familiar feel extraordinary. As tributes poured in, one truth became clear. Quentin Wilson didn't just shape car television, he shaped the way people felt about cars. His influence rippled far beyond the studio, into living rooms, garages, and hearts. And now, as we imagine him taking that final drive, perhaps he's smiling, hand on the wheel, radio low, wind brushing past, free once more on an open road that has no end. Because legends like Quentin don't stop. They simply keep driving, just beyond the horizon. Even after the cameras stopped rolling and the world grew quieter, Quentin Wilson's presence never truly faded. His influence lingers in every passionate car lover, every journalist who dares to speak with honesty, and every driver who finds joy in the journey, not just the destination. Because Quentin didn't just teach us about cars, he taught us about perspective. He believed that progress wasn't just about building faster engines, but about building a better world. He saw the potential for humanity in technology, and he reminded us that change should serve people, not profit. His advocacy work, his dedication to clean motoring, and his fight for fairer roads were all pieces of a larger mission, to make driving not just sustainable, but soulful. In every campaign, in every article, in every soft-spoken interview, there was a man quietly pushing for a future that cared. Jeremy Clarkson once described him as the gentleman of the garage. And perhaps that's the truest description of all. Quentin was refined, intelligent, endlessly patient, a man who knew how to blend class with conscience. Today, His absence is felt like the silence after a great song ends. Yet in that silence, there's gratitude. Gratitude for the laughter he gave, the wisdom he shared, and the roads he left behind for others to travel. Some people leave behind monuments. Quentin Wilson left behind moments, ones that will never rust or fade. So here's to the man who made cars speak, who made journeys feel alive, and who, in his quiet brilliance, taught us all how to steer with heart. Because even though he's gone, his voice still echoes. In every hum of the engine, in every smile on the open road, and in every soul that dares to keep moving forward. Farewell, Quentin. Your journey continues, in us.